Welcome in. Thank you for being here, Soul Family, Soul Ohana Kapualani, here with your timeless general reading. Happens to fall in alignment with the current new moon cycle. So I'm gonna, as always, open up space with a little bit of sound healing, sound clearing, chiming my tuning fork 3 times, giving us a little bit of room to set some goals, intentions, while also giving thanks, gratitude, appreciation to our spirit teams, our higher selves, ancestors, Mother Earth, Father Sky, God, Source, Creator, Spirit, Light, the universe. So as you breathe in deeply and fully, expanding the belly. And as you exhale, exhaling through the mouth with a ha or a sigh, emptying everything out. Okay, thank you. Welcome in again, and so it is. So let's dive into the cards here. I hope that this finds you doing well. Energies have been really interesting, especially how things continue to play out and unfold worldwide. So I'm just holding space for planetary healing, peace, and above all, compassion and kindness. All right, so Spirit, all that being said, and thank you guys again for being here. Spirit, what's the message today? What is the core of the message coming through, of what we need to hear? Okay, we've got the Seven of Pentacles. All right. So asking ourselves what is worth our time, energy, and value in terms of where we are investing our time, energy, and value. There's also some things that I'm getting here, and I see we have the Empress. All right, so you're setting yourself up is what I'm hearing. Like you like for future success. You're building. There's a harvest that may be developing that you aren't really, maybe you're not really even aware of it just yet. I feel like when I'm seeing this energy or these energies showing up together, I'm hearing work in progress. I'm also present to, like, Spirit is saying you have everything you need and more to move forward, to continue to make progress on your goals. You may not see it, you may not realize how much progress you've already made. I mean, the Seven of Pentacles, for example, as we know, Pentacles, or excuse me, the Seven of Pentacles, we traditionally see that gardener, farmer, tending to the harvest. And there's this, you see this little, I don't know if it's a child or a cherub, I think it's a child, but holding on to those grapes here, and then this feminine with that bundle, or that female with the bundle here, but yet these gold coins in the trees above, and they're not really focused on that. They've got some things that they're carrying already, and so I feel like, again, I'm hearing it, it's a work in progress. Whatever your goals are, that you're working on or working toward, whatever the case may be, whether it's, again, love or money. And sorry, I didn't say that earlier, but it's just what I tend to say when I do these general readings, because it's like, all right, it's not specific to anything in particular, although it can be. But in this case, there's a lot of this sort of focus on grounding. There's this focus on practicality. With the Empress, of course, we have that Taurus energy coming through. And the Empress is very much a self-realized individual. I mean, part of it, not to sound silly, but in this deck, the Empress, there's this air of maybe boredom. Like, okay, I've accomplished all of these things. I have what I need. And more, though, again, is more of the tone of the message coming through. So, Spirit, what's coming up for us? What's in progress? What is building? Where should we maybe be focusing our intentions and efforts? Okay, so it's like they're coming out in doubles here. So there may be something with pairs, like two, the number two. I'm just gonna say that just because two cards here, two cards here. It could just be the deck and how I'm shuffling. We got the Knight of Swords, so something calling for bold action or some kind of movement. Like, I feel like maybe you're waiting on some kind of movement, some kind of travel, whether it's physically or it's information coming through, communications and so forth. that was not intentional. The Knave of Wands. So we have Knight of Swords, Knave of Wands, which is like the Page of Wands. Okay, yeah, definitely some messages, new insights, and perspectives that are going to be making itself available to you. There could be introductions. I don't know why that just what came to mind. I feel like in some ways, if you're waiting on answers, if you're waiting on some kind of a manifestation, again, work in progress, it's underway. There may be things that, like, for example, I don't know why I'm just kind of coming to this, but with the swords, right, being air, I'm thinking of words, and then of course the page with the messages. And insights, the fire energy being that psychic creative energy. There's going to be new life that is being breathed. Sorry if this sounds really like broken English, sorry, but new life being breathed into how should I put this? Something that's ongoing. You know, like how when you like that phrase, losing the wind in your sails, it's like there's something that's gonna, a spark that's gonna get it to pick up again, like a little something's gonna kick something up. So I don't know if that has any resonance for anyone specifically. If it does, please definitely let me know in the comments. But yeah, so where you should be sort of focusing now, trust that again, the work is in progress. Don't stop. There may be a form of bold action in a new direction or to see things through new eyes that's being called for. For example, when you're working on something, right? If it feels like you're getting to something of a plateau, not exactly, but you feel like maybe things are slowing down. I'm almost getting like change things up a little bit, gives things room to breathe, crack open a window. If getting this thing of circulation of air, and I just, I knew that was gonna happen eventually with that sort of fire. But let me just go ahead. I'm gonna relight, hopefully, my candle there. Thanks for that. I had a feeling that was gonna happen. So something going on there. Is like breathing new life, reigniting something that maybe you had to walk away from or put down to focus on other elements, other things. So keep talking to us about this energy, spirit. What is being reignited? Yeah, I was going to reignite. Okay, we've got Ace of Chalices here. So fresh starts. There we go with the new beginnings coming through. And this death energy. Interesting. So some kind of a cleansing that's necessary. And wow, look at this. With the Madonna and the, I was going to say Yeshua. So figures here, Christ-like figures, the Christ figures. Purification. Something is both starting and cycling out. And it's interesting that we're getting this one and then that death, you know, the Ace of Cups and then this death energy. So with death energy, we have Scorpio. So there's some kind of an emotional reboot that I'm feeling and that I'm seeing here. I feel like there's also a cleansing, purification, something that's going to be coming through as a heart opening and a heart expansion, a heart healing, focusing on joy, fulfillment, that sort of thing. And I get that in embracing or welcoming in this kind of fresh start, this flood of heart healing energies, it's really gonna support the releasing of, you know, what's not working, what was, or just what's cycled out, what's done, what you've processed and worked through. For some reason, it's just what's coming up right now. But let's get a little bit of deeper insight here with what exactly is coming to a close. Three of Swords. Yeah. So this is what's coming to a close, you guys. This is great. Where there's been conflict, where there's been miscommunications, where you've had a lot of confusion and chaos, kind of mentally speaking, where there's just been pain, or where it has seemed like there's been even conflict with others. I also am hearing something with, and I wouldn't necessarily say this, you know, just associated with these particular cards, but I'm hearing past disappointments where things have not worked out. Three being a significant number energy here. I really get the sense that there may even be someone, either someone new, a new experience, someone new, and or you seeing yourself in a new light or opening up again. You yourself are opening up to a new cycle. Okay, you're set up with your situation, like every, like for what, from what I'm seeing here, for the most part you're taken care of. For the most part, you're not, like literally, when you know, you may not feel this way, but when you look at the bigger picture of your life and your stability, okay, you're set up, you're okay. Maybe you're not exactly where you want to be, whether this is, again, you know, even though I said stability, there could be stability in terms of relationship, physical, but you know what I mean, finances, excuse me. But I see this as a more expansive sort of level. Like, yeah, you're pretty set up in some ways. In other ways, it's like, again, work in progress. But I get, again, that there's a new cycle that you're, we've been saying this, but here's that space for clearing and cleansing. I'm kind of present to these energies, really hinging on this new moon because of the dark aspect of the death card, the dark moon, you know, aka new moon. And again, of what we're clearing out. And so there's something here where new life, right? New life is coming through. There may be a little bit of sorrow that comes with acknowledging a new cycle, welcoming in a new start, or even just kind of accepting and receiving something new, because it's like you were having to release something else. So it's not, and it's not that it's a sacrifice or even an exchange. Like, you're ready to release this painful, whatever it is, thorn in your side, past, you know, that just it didn't work out the way that you wanted it to. Or again, the conflict of shoulda, woulda, coulda, you know, that we hang on to, that brings us this like confusion and doubt about trusting ourselves with future goals. Like, okay, well, maybe I want this or maybe I want that, I'm not really sure. In the past, you know, I thought that this was going to work out this way, but it really didn't. So that's, again, those are the aspects that we're moving on from, that we're cycling out of. Okay. All right, I know that this one's gonna be a little bit shorter, but nonetheless, we're gonna transition to our animal spirit cards here. And for those who are new, I do offer a part 2 to this reading at kapualani.com/extensions. And so if that's something that should interest you, I encourage you to take a look. There's a link for it in the description box below or in the comments. And we're going to dive deeper into just like what's coming through after this. What is this new cycle bringing? Where can we focus our energies and intentions as we open up to this new cycle? All right, but you're ready. I get, yeah, you're ready to move on. You're ready for these new cycles. You're ready to close out the old. There is some conflict, and maybe part of this is just because of the obvious with what's going on in the bigger picture, again, on a collective worldwide level. But again, let's tune into these animal spirit cards, and I'm going to give my downloads for the animal spirit and then read from the book in part 2 for those, again, who are new. All right, thank you. So spirit, animal spirits, what's our message? And also I'm going to be pulling from a couple of my oracle decks in part 2 as well for a little bit of extra bonus. My usual, you know. Woo, I'm not going to pull those. Look, we got earthworm again, guys. If you saw, I don't know if it was exactly the last one, but in one of the recent, at least the last 1 or 2 weeks, I think we saw earthworm. Okay. And this I'm getting just cycle of life. This time the message I'm getting is cycle of life, and we have wolf energy. So there may be a little bit of a feeling of, I don't know, like a lone wolf as well, going at something on your own. I get this feeling. Let me just focus back on earthworm, because I'm just going back to tilling the soil, fertilization of things. Things are becoming more fertile again. There may be a little bit of, and you know, it's funny because with the earthworm, those cycles of ending and beginning and so forth, the transitions being, not to sound silly or basic, but grounded is part of what I'm getting as well. I get this energy, now let's be drawn to wolf energy. Trusting your senses, staying focused, being a listener in terms of where you set your sights, using your, I'm just getting it really strongly about your senses. There's something also with sense of smell. There's something with, which I know, I don't know if that sounds silly, but you know, if it means something to you, let me know. Tuning in, excuse me. Okay, and we've got these similar energies. That's earth energy. Sorry about that, guys, getting lost in the message here that I'm downloading from Spirit. There's something being catalyzed. Something, it's not just, there's something on a deeper core level that's still in development and being catalyzed, and maybe you feel it, but again, you're not quite seeing the results just yet. So that's where, I'm drawn to the simplicity of the earthworm, but yet how it's a sign of healthy soil. So if you're trying to grow something, and maybe even that's part of your own physical health, actually, in terms of a sense of renewal and taking that time to heal, taking that time to, okay, intelligence with the wolf, simplify things with the earthworm, and you have different layers of intelligence and skills. Thank you. That's where skill sets to work with and to honor in terms of like what's coming up moving forward. With this page of wands and that knight of swords, that's where I'm getting like using your senses differently, being bold again with this energy, but keeping things simple. All right, so that's my core message with the animal spirit guides. And as always, I'll give you guys a little quick look. Angel answers, romance angels, gonna be asking so yes, no questions or anything dealing with, it doesn't have to be again romance. I say that every time, so forgive me if you're like, oh, I'm so tired of hearing this, Kapualani. But it just, just anything that you're passionate about, holding space to co-create. All right, so I will see you in part 2 for those who are interested. If you'd like to schedule a reading with me, I am available live or pre-recorded readings at kapualani.com. But I thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you've had a beautiful and blessed new moon. See you in part 2.